Okay, so this is Jibril Runtime Security Agent Dashboard. So it's the view of one agent when it's running in a host. In this particular case, the host is a CI/CD environment, so the execution has already finished, but it could be a real-time run where you would be seeing the latest 30 minutes or so of events that happened during that time. In this first tab, we have all the detections that happened, and I can filter for them, right? So I can focus in the critical and high events mostly. So, for example, as critical, I would just have access to a blocked domain or a network scan tool that was executed or a pseudo-words file that was changed in here. As high, I have like code on the fly, so someone executed a interpreter and a code all together in the same command line, or an execution from somewhere that is weird, right? As you can see, we have the chain of processes that caused that detection, but we can also open the process that triggered it, and we can see that, for example, in this particular case, the pseudoverse test file was created in the pseudoverse directory, and that triggered this type of the detection. And then if we are in doubt what this detection means, I can open the documentation and I can read what it means. And then in here I have full information of the process, the environment. So the process that generated it was from core choose in this particular version, and then it depends on this library. And we have the chain of processes in here that caused that, and up to a point where we find the command that caused the trigger. And then we have also all the files that were ever touched by this process and all the actions taken in each of those files. With that said, I can also go to the other view here, and I can see all the network flows that were caused during this workload. And if a workload has a detection, so for example, this first one, you can see we have many flows in here, right? So, and it was to localhost. And then when I open, I see many TCP connections going on, and there was one detection here, right? And then I can open and discover which process caused this, and the process that caused this detection was nmap. So it makes sense, right? And then I can open and see all the flows it caused, all the connections it caused, and from here it's clear that only port 22 was opened when it scanned the network, because only the only one that has the local initiation, so the connection was initiated, it was the port 22, but all the others were closed. Even though I got all the scan, and then I can open the process and see that the process that caused this was network memory, nmap, network scan into. And then in here I have all the information of the process, right? And I have all the files, the nmap binary opened or touched, and how they touched. So the binary was executed, for example, and all the other files were read or memory mapped if they were libraries. And if I go back to environment, I'm gonna see that nmap2 has a specific version in a Debian environment. If I ran this inside a container, I would pick the runtime environment from the container. It doesn't matter if the container lived for 1 second or 5 minutes, I would still get it. And then the dependencies, I have all the dependencies and their versions, and this is what's gonna empower a feature that is coming soon, which is on-demand CVE scanning together with all the detections that you're seeing. With this said, we can navigate a little bit further. We can see, like, for example, this was a detection but not a critical detection. So I can open and see it was a ICMP echo request, and then I can try to understand why. And then I'm gonna see it's network suspicious too, and it's suspicious because someone is pinging an IP and a domain for this case, for example. And we have many other detections. So the low detections are showed in blue, and in here it's just an example as a communication to a specific domain. And every time you try to communicate with this particular example.com, you are going to be warned. This is the detection recipe. We have also the network policy. I could block every time you try to resolve example.com, or I can block every time you talk to example.com. So this is about our network policies and not about the detection recipes that you're currently being shown here. For today, that's what I wanted to show. Thanks a lot.